at all. They've stripped out everything.
Wow.
Okay, we are streaming.
Hey, Bob.
Hi.
How you
How you
doing?
Good, yourself?
We have a few minutes, don't we?
Hey, Michael. How are you? Excuse me, Dr. Michael. I gotta say Dr. Michael and Dr. Van Fleet. You know, I gotta keep you equal. Now I got Dr. Gottschall, Dr. Van Fleet, Dr. Wayne, Dr. Ed. Any other doctors out there?
I'm here.
None of us can help you. If you have a heart attack, you're in trouble. I am trained in CPR.
I can prescribe ibuprofen and acetaminophen.
Okay, there you go.
I think you should.
That's Dr. Barstas, excuse me. I didn't know you were there.
I think the only cure for headaches are those softball-sized meatballs at Niagara Falls Central.
We can
Amen
take
to
care-
that.
We can take care of that. There's no
Take
problem.
2 of those a day.
Not 2 a day, but we
Yeah,
can
and
take
it's a
care of
lot.
that.
That's a lot.
I think we should have those meatballs at our May meeting at the
Talk a
conference center.
Yes, that's a good idea, Dr. Barstas. A meatball a day keeps the doctor from eating the meatballs.
I can arrange that. If Clark gives me the green light, I can have him there.
You got a lot of juice, Dr. Barstas. You can handle it. That's all I'm missing.
What's that behind you, Dan?
Dan, you always seem to be standing up on the street corner there in 50 Main. What's up with that? Don't you, you holding the building up or what?
Hands muted.
I think he's holding the building up.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I heard 50 Main at the last part.
You seem to be holding the building up. You're always there.
Oh, behind me, yes. Oh, wrong mouse.
Hey, Dan, was there a reason for putting up the no parking sign there backwards on 6th Street?
I'm gonna guess Ellicott probably did that. I'll go look.
Okay, I have 7:00. So I guess I'd like to welcome everybody to the annual meeting for 2021. And I'd like to call it to order. And the first thing we have to do is elect a chairman of the meeting.
This is Tom Klotzbach. I make a motion that we nominate Ed Grabowski to be the chairman of the meeting.
I
I'll
second it.
Any other nominations?
I move
Having
on.
none, I'll take a motion to close that.
I make a motion to close it.
This is
And I'll
Tom
second it.
Klotzbach. I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of closing the nominations?
Aye.
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 Okay, and all in favor of me?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
I'd like to thank everybody for this honor.
Right.
And now we will take a nomination for secretary of the meeting.
I'll nominate Cindy Hurt, secretary.
I'll
This is Tom
second it.
Klotzbach.
And I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the nominations.
I'll make a motion to close it.
All right, how about?
I'll second it.
All in favor of closing the nominations?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And all in favor of Cindy Hertz?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Ed, can we hold a second? It's not streaming on the website. Can we hold, I'm watching,
Yes.
I try to watch it on YouTube and it's not up. So just 1 second.
okay.
We don't have to do this over again, do we?
It's being
No,
recorded.
it says it's recording. Like going out.
It shows me that it's live.
Yeah, so mine. You're mute.
We're all set. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll turn it over to Cindy.
Sydney's muted.
Muted, Cindy.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it.
In keeping with Chapter 1950 of the Education Laws, the annual meeting of the Board of Cooperative Educational Services of Orleans and Niagara Counties will be held virtually on Wednesday evening, April 14th, 2021 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of inspection of the budget of said BOCES.
Thank you. I guess we have an approval for the minutes from last year.
This is Tom Klotzbach. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the April 8th, 2020 annual meeting.
This
I
is Carol
second.
Phelps. I second it.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that's carried. And we move right on to the program. Dr. Godshall.
Mrs. Conley, do you have the slides up? Okay, if you can move to the next one. Well, welcome to our 64th annual meeting of the Orleans Niagara BOCES. We will be, really, it's our 65th year of operation, and we will be recognizing that later on in a couple months. But I do want to say, in terms of, we have a number of candidates who are up for re-election, and it's all the incumbents. We have Mr. Wayne Wadhams from Albion, Ms. Joanne Woodside from Lockport, Mr. Edward Grabowski from Medina, and Mr. Keith Bond from Royalton Heartland have been nominated by their boards. And that voting will occur in each of the components on April 27th. So thank you, board members, for your efforts and your continued commitment to the BOCES. In terms of this budget, we built the budget at a very extraordinary time in terms of our history. Of course, with COVID and the lack of funding, that condition in terms of the funding has changed quite a bit, but did not help the BOCES in terms of the statewide funding. We'll be talking about that a little later. But we did meet the needs of our 13 component districts in terms of opening up. The naysayers didn't want us to, but we overcame. We did it safely. We had proper social distancing. You've been hearing a lot about the proms and graduations, but we're still in a high risk area. So at this time, we can't move in terms of the 3 feet action, just in case anybody has that question. And we're in regular communications with our health department partners. Also, this past year, we continued our capital renovations. We will be looking for a new architect, but a new roof was put on 50 Main Street. And just kudos to the county that gave us that building. We have made a major investment. The businesses appreciate our presence in downtown. Mrs. Conley and Dan Conley did a great job in terms of making sure the roof was replaced. It's a 30-year roof. So hopefully if you're still here in 30 years, you won't have to put a nickel into the building. It fixed all the leaks. And we really have a great centerpiece. I do have Senator Ort coming next week, and hopefully we'll get the word out so you can come. He hasn't been through the building. We want to tour him. As I said, we're looking for a new architect firm. We're very pleased. We had over 10 submissions. A lot of people want to do work for us because it's not just that we go out once every few years, 10, 15 years for a $10 or $20 million project. We do capital projects right along. Our component districts are very supportive because we have the state aid flowing and they get it back. So again, kudos to our local components who support us. And I know that Mrs. Conley's in touch with the facilities committee, and we're down to 3 architects that will be interviewed next week. Last year, we gave a very significant refund of $5.6 million. We're on track to do a similar refund. People think that we're not paying that out to folks, but our districts really count on that money back. They get it in around December. But they have to put up money up front in terms of additional slots where they would purchase from our alt ed program or for our special ed programs. If they don't use them and we cover all our costs, those monies go back to the districts. So I'm very pleased. This is my 32nd year at this BOCES in terms of giving back the refunds. This is the first year where the comptroller, about 7 years ago, they did an audit and they said we had to give back our 5.2 million that we're holding to pay for retirement. It was prudent, it was good advice, but again, the state wouldn't allow it. So we had a plan. We've given back about $1 million a year in terms of that. We no longer have that to give back. And so now we've completed our obligation to the state. The administrative budget will continue to be adjusted. I'm very pleased Mrs. Conley has brought that in at a 0 increase. We continue with a good trend of 0 increases. And this is the administrative budget that the local districts will be voting on in a couple of weeks. We continue to contain our tuition rates. The charge this year was to see if we could hold the majority of the budgets near 0 or at 0. Mrs. Conley accomplished that. So kudos to her and her team. We also are assisting the districts. The business office put together a PPE bid. We have multiple districts, I forget the count, maybe about 40 districts buying off of our PPE bid to keep everybody safe. We continue to lead in terms of RFPs for the drinking water testing. And a couple new programs you'll hear about tonight are science kits. We are cross-contracting with Monroe BOCES. We work cooperatively with them. We are the central drop-off site for the science kits. These are put together up at Monroe BOCES, shipped out, and it's really boosted our science scores in terms of what our students get to work with. You get all the materials in one box. It helps the staff deliver the instruction. And of course, kudos to Dr. Barsas and his team. Our behavioral consultant and mental health consultants, COSERs, are a big hit with the districts. The state put a control of 0.6 FTE, but we're working with the state. Not only can we sell each district 0.6 FTE, which is 3 days a week of behavioral consultants, mental health coordinators, but we have social workers in there. So the districts are really taking advantage of that and they get the BOCES aid. And of course, the districts, when we talk about all the federal money that they'll be getting, you'll see a big increase in terms of, they're going to use those, they have to use those funds in order for closing the gap and for mental health issues. So with that, next slide, Melanie, and we'll turn it over to Dr. Wyro.
Hello, everyone. Career and technical education. Hold on. Go back one. Thank you. Career and technical education. We're in the process of wrapping up for the year. Some of the points that we're focusing on right now are developing the plans for the month of June, end of year assessments, even though we're not required to do so because of the variances that the state put in place. We are looking to explore the option for the students for the industry standards. So if a student's eligible to receive a national certificate, automotive, cosmetology, welding, things like that, we still want to create those opportunities for those students. So we're exploring how we can maintain that, even though, yes, for graduation purposes, we've met that benchmark, but we still want to offer that to the students if at all possible. COVID protocols, always on the weekly task list to make sure we're following, enhancing, and maintaining all of those requirements. Perkins and the grant, wrapping up this current year's grant and planning for next year's grant and how we can utilize those initiatives to improve what we do on a day-to-day basis. Employability profiles, the state's making some changes on what we have to document for those, and we're expanding that even further to how we can document additional information that the homeschools are looking for when it comes to special ed, data collection, CDOS, more throughout the year rather than just at the end of the year. And then program credentials and certifications, we're going to take a deep dive into those and see what we can identify for each individual program. And Blackboard utilization. Blackboard is a new system we have for mass communications. And we're going to try to practice and get that up and running so we can do it smoothly moving forward. Next slide, please. So we have 2 career and technical centers, one in Niagara. It's in the Sanborn. There are roughly 969 students enrolled with 25 programs with 37 teachers. And there's 3 administrators linked to that campus, which is Scott, Rob, and Katie. They're the 3 that oversee those programs and everything else I just mentioned for the Niagara campus. Next slide, please. The Orleans Career is out in Medina. There are 673 students there, 19 programs, and 27 teachers. The programs that different between the 2, we've always had this for a while, are going to be conservation, the video gaming program, animation, EMT, fashion, and HVAC. And then animal science currently is offered at Medina, but we are expanding that offering into the Sanborn location starting next fall as well. So as we grow and expand based on the student numbers and things like that, we shift where programs can sit. Majority of our programs are offered to 10 of our 13 districts because of the swing ability that they have. So we try to accommodate as many students as we possibly can with the programs we offer at each center. Next slide, please. Instructional services. Instructional services housed out of East, our conference center. We have Center for School Improvement and Professional Development, home hospital teaching, driver education, coaching certification, regional summer school, reading recovery, the teacher center, and school library service systems. Next slide, please. In those areas, it's mostly of it is professional development that we continue on to our 13 districts, as well as, well, for the 13 districts, but it's through a collaboration between Western New York, Niagara and Orleans, as well as SED. So Mike Fisher, Jennifer, and Brian, this is the team that works closely with all of the curriculum developers, the teachers, and they provide the professional development to the districts focused on not only what the state's pushing out, but also what the individual districts are looking to accomplish with their individual initiatives. Next slide, please. Also in professional development offerings, we have the Reading Recovery with Antoinette, Teacher Center with Cheryl, and the School Library Systems with Chris. So Reading Recovery allows students to, it's a program that the districts can purchase that individualizes the instruction designed for younger students to enhance their reading abilities. We all know the sooner we put these initiatives in place, the more impact it's going to have on the career of the student in the school setting. So Antoinette's a certified instructor to provide that to the students that purchase that, or to the districts that purchase that service. We're hoping to expand that. It's a great gap closing program that's in place that we will definitely be using moving forward. Teacher Center, Cheryl offers a variety of opportunities for professional development for the teachers through workshops, as well as special services for our districts. She creates a catalog, sends it out. Students or teachers can sign up for what they see fit. And she modifies it based on the feedback and the needs of our component district and their staff. And School Library Systems with Chris promotes sharing of library materials, as well as the multimedia of resources that we have. Chris has spent a lot of time Chris is new. We hired him back in December. He's taken the time to develop a good network with the local component district librarians, as he used to be one in Lockport, and identifying what areas could benefit his group of librarians throughout the 13 districts, not only in library, but media services or multimedia as well. Next slide, please. Adult education. Katie and Joe are the 2 administrators that are linked directly to the day-to-day activities of adult education. We have 3 main locations, 50 Main, Harrison, and 6th Street. We have other locations throughout the 2 counties. However, those are the 3 main hubs that we run the literacy zone, skilled trades, and nursing through. Next slide, please. So within that program, we have 3 main coordinators or supervisors that oversee a lot of the day-to-day activities, Sue, John, and Diana. Literacy Zone with Sue offers a variety of literacy and job readiness support services for youth and adults throughout the 2 counties. Skilled Trades Programs offers a variety of industrial trade programs. to enhance not only the rate out of high school, but also the adults who are looking to expand or find a new career. And Health Occupations offers our LPN, our CNA, and phlebotomy programs, both in Niagara and Orleans County. Mostly offered in Niagara County between 6th Street and Lockport. We are looking to expand that offering into 60th Street as well, coming soon, and still looking to offer something in Orleans County. However, the last time we were about to run that, the facility was decided, they're informed they could not offer it by the state due to COVID. And I believe that is my last slide. And it is. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Great job, Mike. I toured the tech centers with a couple of you, and I have to say kudos to Mike and his administrative team. They probably had to do the most adjusting because of the pandemic, and they've done a fantastic job. I was really impressed. I know it's part of the BOCES at work in, but every time I go into those tech centers, I'm so impressed. So great job, Mike and team. As you can see, our students there, if you can't read, it says, "We can't mask how excited we are to welcome you back." One of the biggest surprises for me, and I think a lot of the staff, is how well those kids kept their masks on and continue to do so. A lot of our kids have sensory issues. They don't like to be touched. They don't like to have their clothes on, let alone a mask, some of these kids, and they've just been terrific. So kudos to our kids and our staff for that too. Next slide, please. These are just some of the celebrations we like to share. Although I have to be honest, some of them are not from this year. Some of the ones where there aren't any masks on. But I know Board Member Bond has helped out with us at Roy Hart with the Thanksgiving dinners. A lot of our kids there, that's the only time they'll ever have turkey. That's the only time they've ever had stuffing or cranberry sauce. And it's once a year. And we provide that experience for them. And we usually have it at like a pilgrim type setting with the tables from one end of the hall to the other. And, obviously we couldn't do that today, but we did still share with them a meal that they wouldn't normally have. Next slide, please. So some of the highlights, as I always say to you, Niagara Academy, those kids are the kids who, this is their last chance. They used all their strikes, so to speak, at their component district, middle or high school, and we're their last hope. And the miracles they work in that building continue to amaze me. We had, over 30 graduates because of the hard work there. You see Becky Tharp and Deb Hilburn at a lot of our meetings, what we're used to. They work there, and you've heard the stories from them. So we're proud to have not only graduates, but 18 of them received Regents diplomas, 2 advanced Regents diplomas. The CDOS credentials are huge too, because it makes them marketable and employable right out of high school. 8 local diplomas. And a lot of our students head over to Career and Tech Ed. Dr. Gotcha will note, and I think Dr. Weil will also note, we've gotten a lot better at screening and really making sure that the kids who go from our program over to the Career and Tech Ed program are suited for that vocational setting. And we're really focused in on and tweaking that so the kids can be as successful as possible. And so far it's been working. And then at NT High, we have those 4 graduates who receive a skills and achievement credential. Those are, your cognitively low functioning students, but they still graduate, so to speak, and we're proud of them. And we get them ready to go out and be employable and work somewhere and take care of themselves. And it's a great graduation. I know many of you go, and we're always impressed with those kids. Next slide, please. We always talk about this. You've seen this slide before. It changes from year to year. It's certainly not exhaustive, but the communities in which we all live are fantastic with our programs and our being partners with us, getting those kids that I mentioned, getting them employable, getting them ready to go out into a career. getting them active in the community. They're just absolutely wonderful. So a shout out to these organizations, these businesses that welcome our students and staff in so they can have real world experiences. Next slide, please. Looking to the future, this is this is, I think, every school district, every BOCES, we're always looking to upgrade technology. It's always changing. One of the things in technology I'm most proud of is that every classroom now has, well, we have 5 that arrived today, but after those 5 are installed in the next week, every classroom will have a Promethean active panel. Those are 75-inch LED TVs, basically, that are interactive, that have software, learning software on them. It's truly state of the art. They're 4K. For those who don't know, that's the clearest available picture you can get in the market today, for the most part. We're 1-to-1 with iPads. So if a kid needs an iPad or a teacher needs iPads for every kid to conduct a lesson, every kid has an iPad. They don't have to share, which is great in the COVID environment. We're increasing our Chromebook inventory for the older kids who need keyboards for word processing, and desktops where they're needed. Expanding programs, we're looking, as Dr. Gottschall alluded to, a few years ago, we didn't have a behavior consultant. We didn't have a mental health services coordinator. Now we have 2 of each, and they're so successful. And Dr. Gottschall I can't take any credit for it. The credit has to go to these employees. They're phenomenal employees. They represent the BOCES so well, these 4 ladies, that they are the reason districts are literally clamoring to increase their services. So we're adding a social worker coaster for next year so we can meet their needs. They're just fantastic. And in this mental health climate, their services are so needed. As I said, we expand real world experiences with our students through those partnerships from the previous slide. Appropriately staffing for increasingly difficult students to manage. When I started almost 5 years ago, we didn't have a 6-1-3, 6 students, 1 teacher, 3 aides. That's a very intense service. Now most of our classes are 6-1-3, and there are very few 6-1-1s. So we continue to meet the needs of the districts. We adhere to the COVID-19 safety requirements and continue the use of PPE. It's such a natural thing nowadays. In the beginning of the year, it was getting everybody normed and into routines. Now it's just a part of what we do. And meeting the technology needs for the students to take ELA and math. NYSA, that's the New York State Alternative Assessment. Those are students who would never take state assessments like the 3rd grade ELA or math, 8th grade ELA or math, or any Regents exams. They take their own special assessments, and we have to adapt the technology for someone who might not be able to hold a mouse or may not be able to type on a keyboard. So we're continuing to upgrade that so our students have a fair shot at a fair assessment. And I think that's it. Yes. Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
evening,
Dr. Barker.
everyone. I will review the 21-22 budget. So the BOCES state aid that we had issued from last year, 19-20, and you can see the districts down the left side, total just under 23.5 million. In addition to the refund payments that we had of over 5 million, we rendered back to the districts $28.6 million. Oops, sorry. This year, for 21-22, the facilities aid to total $628,207. In addition to the 2021 services aid, we're looking to give $24.9 million in aid in total to our 13 component districts. This is our component districts BOCES aid ratios, comparing it from 19-20 to 2021. And you can see overall, the average really hasn't changed too much, 0.751 to 0.753. So basically, This means for every dollar that our component districts spend in BOCES, they will get back about 75 cents on the dollar in BOCES aid back to them. This here is the different parts of our budget. The admin budget of $33,675,000. That has not changed. And as Dr. Gottschall said, that is the part of the budget that our component districts will be voting on April 27th. Overall, a $53.8 million budget. You can see CTE totals of $13,676,000. Our special ed, 27.1 million. Our itinerant, general and instruction and other areas are down at the bottom of this screen. And those are the breakdowns of our 13 component districts, as well as we do have some other districts in other BOCES that do cross contracts for some services with us as well. I should say, if I just back up once, this obviously, as you all know, changes throughout the year as our component districts needs change. As Dr. Gottschall said, you know, they need spots in our special ed programs. There's transient students moving in and out of the district. So the budgets do change throughout the year. This is our overall budget. 93% of our budget is program driven. These are the programs that our component districts signed up for. 2% for capital, as Dr. Gottschall said, the roof that we just did at 50 Main, our administration, 5%. And then the breakdown of those services, 49% is special ed, 25% career and technical, and then our other areas, itinerant, alternative ed, instructional services, and the admin and capital. Our budget, comparing the current year initial budget to next year's 21-22 proposed budget by function, and the functions are the categories down the left-hand side there: salaries, benefits, equipment, supplies, etc. So our proposed budget right now is $53.8 million based on the services that our districts have indicated to us that they want for the upcoming year. These are our tuition rates. We're very proud to say that, you know, the majority of our rates have stayed the same. We worked hard to deliver no change in those tuitions. And this is just a sampling. Again, our CTE rate is flat, remains the second lowest in the state. So we're very proud of that. This is our administrative budget, comparing the 19-20 expenditures, 2021 initial budget, and the 21-22 initial budget. Again, that administrative budget overall is 3.675, but the board of each of your component districts will be voting April 27th on that portion of the budget. And as required, we show the administrative salary 2021 to 21-22 with the appropriate fringe benefits and things that are required there. And with that, we will take any questions if anyone has any.
Nice job, that's all I can say.
Thank you.
I second that. I can't imagine handling all of this. Good job.
I am a little concerned that the budget is less than the prior year. We did hit some districts which are pulling back services, and that's going to be reflected. I believe we will have some layoffs in June, but hopefully, as I said, and I'll talk in the regular meeting, that the state did not help the BOCES specifically, but perhaps if the districts get more money, that'll be reflected in some additional services. So again, it's a good year. Kudos to all the staff. And if there's no other questions, at the end of this, Mr. President, we will have to sign off and then come back in for the, let me check with Cindy. Do we all have to log back in, Or is it just the streaming, Cindy?
Stay on the Zoom. We're going to stop the YouTube and restart it on the quick link under the regular meeting.
There you go.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for presenting. Great stuff, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
This is Tom Klotzbach. I'll make a motion to adjourn the 2021 annual meeting.
And this is Joanne. I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
That's carried. I'd like to thank everyone. Hope we have a good year. Thank you.
We're all just going to stand by, let them stop the streaming and